Shit. It's not here. It's not here.
I got my first. Oh God! Let it stop on me. Let it stop on me. Let it.
My YouTube channel. This is the Gist with Loba, and I am Loba. And today I'll be discussing the highlights of the very first day of Big Brother Naija All Star. And we are all expecting the All Star to come, the All Star, and there were a lot of conversation about housemates that were on the show. And one thing I realized with the selection is the fact that the people Big Brother brought in are we just know that drama started the very first day everyone got into that house. Like we knew how these people had issue prior to the show. Like some of them had like online beef. We can talk the likes of Whitemoney and Doyin, and we know like a bit about what these people have, and perhaps those that were in a relationship and that relationship had gone bad. And having to live together in the same house for the next 10 weeks, we know it to be a lot of drama. And I think for we viewers, that is what we are here for. And it's just an interesting one because it's different from the every regular Big Brother we've always seen. So before I won't do too much about this, I just want to discuss the very first day, the highlights, like things that really went down for the very first day. So after the launch night, that was the Sunday night, the Monday, everything that happened from from like that very morning till the night. So the very first, like most important thing you guys need to know is the fact that Pere has a crush on Cee-c. And it's so funny that okay, where how we were able to get to understand this was after their gym session. Cross and Pere were having this conversation at the place they do wash the plates and the rest. So while they were having this conversation, they were trying to code and not let Tolanibaj to understand what they were discussing. And the initial conversation was about Cross and Angel, like will they actually have to come back or get to a point where they have to discuss about their life, how they can coexist in this house, despite the fact that they are no longer a thing, like that relationship they share. And one thing I want to tell you guys again is Soma going close to Angel in this house. And I feel like this would be a ship. And I feel it's like one strategy Soma wants to use and stay long in the show because Soma is someone who was on Seyi, and many people don't even know him. While he was on Seyi, he only spent like 2 weeks. So people don't really get to know him. So having to be in a ship would be one thing he can use to sustain or get fans who will actually vote and make him stay on the show. That's fine. But I feel like I don't know if people had actually been will I say like they are now woke to understand the strategies this housemate always want to put. But if we say people are woke and we know for this strategy, it might be something very wrong because every time people will say, "Oh, we are not going to do this," but when people come to this show, you see them still stick to doing that things. What do I mean by this? Is when people be like, "Oh, we'll not fall for pity party, we'll not fall for pity party, we'll not fall for you coming to tell us story about your struggle and the rest." But over time, when people still come and tell stories about their struggle with life, come and tell story how they were poor, come and tell story how their parents are dead, people still fall for it and they still choose to support these people. So that would be that would be a discussion for another time. So they had that conversation, and while they were having that conversation, Tolanibaj just wanted to be part of it, and Pere don't want Tolanibaj to be part of it. So Tolanibaj had to just cast everything. Like, I know everything you guys are talking about, so let me be part of this conversation. And then she was like, hell, she knew Pere, and so Tolanibaj, she claims they did Kodo the night before, and that was like shocking to me. I was like, who? So, and to the extent, I feel like they have been like there's this wonderful relationship between Pere and Cee-c, which we don't know what it will actually be what it is. And I feel like with what I've seen so far, I feel like Cee-c is now like a very different person, a very different person. And with time, we're actually going to see if Cee-c had actually grown so much from who she is, who she portrayed herself, or who she was on the reality TV show 5 years ago, and who she had like and the woman she had become this season. So that's one thing we have to just look out for. So another highlight was when the ladies actually had this conversation at the dining. So while they were having this conversation, they were talking about cars they like and what they want. So Mercy actually talked about how she had been known as Lambo for like the longest period of time, but she do not have a Lamborghini. And Uriel was like, oh, she believes she's going to get one day. which is actually interesting. It was like a wonderful conversation among them about what they want, what they need in life, and all of that. So that was that. Then they had this conversation. This was another highlight of the show of the very first day when all the housemates like Cross was there, Doyin, almost everybody on the show were there at the kitchen area, and they were having this conversation about what's the name? They were having this conversation about stealing on the show. So I'll not be able to give you guys clips from the show because I'm watching on Showmax and I can't do screenshots on Showmax, you understand? So I can only watch, and I'm watching on Showmax, so I can't screenshots, I can't take pictures. So while we were talking about stealing, Cross was like, oh, in as much as the house rule is so much against stealing, the housemates will always steal. And I think stealing here is not because of these people are klepto, are thief or something, but just one way they need to survive. And I don't know, but I know these housemates are actually yeah, I don't know. And let me tell you guys one thing again about stealing. People I know that are good at this, that steals a lot. Neo is a major suspect. Neo can steal. Like, if you should remember the lockdown season, Neo stole a lot from other housemates, especially when it comes to things for cooking and the rest. Neo really, and it's not as if Neo was just stealing for stealing. I think it's just one way through which he can survive. So if it gets to a stage where, and when they start to steal is when they don't have so much supplies, when they are kind of running out of supply. So people start to save for themselves. And some it's always just saving for themselves, not like they're stealing. And also someone like Adekunle, Adekunle will always watch out for himself and we actually always try to get himself some things like yeah, that is that. So let us just leave that. Then their wager tax for this week. So the wager tax is about reflection, and I think that's the theme for this week. And Big Brother had asked them to actually come together and reflect to the highlights they had on their season. So the housemates actually had and it was read by Venita, and they actually had to discuss about how they're going to come and how they're going to do their wager tax. So it's an interesting one that they have this to do. And after this, they did play the end of house game. So for the end of house game, Big Brother actually made them go to the arena one after the other, and there was like a lot of boxes there at the arena, and you had to just open each boxes. And after you open every box, your Big Brother play you a song, and for a number of minutes, these housemates have to dance. And right after they dance, they actually have to pick an envelope where they actually have to go check out. They have to go and open the box that have the content, which is in the picture of the envelope they had picked. So they who could be able to do that the fastest was declared the head of us, and I definitely succeed to do that. However, like the short list of people who did so well and all guys, and Alex was like the only lady who was able to make it to that short list, and it's so impressive over. So for their head of house for the wager tax, so they actually all had to discuss that, and there was this wager tax actually made them have an issue for that day. But before that, let us discuss about the black envelope challenge. So they were after the wager tag, after the head of house game when Adekunle had won the head of house, they did play the black envelope challenge where all the housemates had to go search the house for the black envelope. And Messi was able to get it, and that actually got an immunity for this week. However, Fraud and Seyi had to fight over over one black envelope, which had nothing. And it was crazy that it happened like that. And it was just like try your luck next time. And it was interesting that it was like that because it would have been an issue if it was actually the one which had the immunity. And yes, I think they were actually even sorted, and that was one of the drama. And that's like content for rewatching. That is like a way to actually have something to discuss about. So that is that for the black envelope challenge. Messi got it, and so Adekunle was asked to pick BFFs. That's like people who will actually have access to the head of us lounge, have access to all the goodies that comes with the lounge. And because of the issue which had actually happened between Seyi and Fraud, Adekunle had to give his BFFs tag to them, and it was to pick four people. So he picked Soma, Fraud, Seyi, and Cross, and those people had access to that place. So it was interesting that they could access the place. However, Meseke was like against that. It was all guys, and at least a lady should have been able to have access to that. And as for me, I feel like they should have left Adekunle. He should do his thing his way. He should do his thing his own way. And yes, because I feel like if a lady should get it, she can also decide to pick who she wants. So Adekunle decided to do this, and it should be his decision. He won it, and he will reward whosoever he wants to. So that is that for me. However, there was now like insinuation that because there was an issue between after this, they were all in the bedroom having conversation, and Meseke came to the room and was like shouting, and she thought the conversation, the way she addressed Adekunle was actually rude for the fact that Adekunle is the head of house. So she addressed, and it was still not to 100, it was an 100% rude way of approaching something, but it was not from a place of spite, but from a place of concern that you have to take up your responsibility as the head of house. You have to be, because these people which you're chatting with, these people which you're doing all of this with, which you're friendly with, they will not do this same thing with you if they are the one in charge, which I really see to be sensible, because the likes of Pere, the likes of Seyi, I guess, and yes, let me just use those two people as example. There are people who will not take trash from anybody, and what's his name? Adekunle trying to be cool, trying to be civil with them is not something that should be happening. So that is one thing I get to understand from Messi's blowout. But however, the way she actually bring out that message was rude. And many people were now like, oh, she was like that because she was pained that Adekunle did not pick her as one of his BFFs, and knowing the fact that they are cool or probably they were friends outside the house. For me, I do not really see that to be an issue, to be a reason why she blew out at him. Or even if that was the reason, I still feel she actually make Adekunle realize that he had to just take his responsibility and be all, and it should be a person of action. It should be in charge of the house and not be too laid back. It should not be too aback with the role of the head of us. So I think this is all I'll be discussing for. Yes, let me discuss about Doyin and Ilebaye. So Doyin and Ilebaye had this conversation about forming alliance, and Doyin was of the view that she's going to oh my god. So Ilebaye actually said for the fact that there are still a lot of persons, she do not see Doyin as a threat, or probably Doyin will be someone who she needs to just throw out or nominate, that she will be there for Doyin, she will support Doyin. And Doyin was like, yes, she's going to do the same to her. And Ilebaye was like, she will only try to let go of Doyin when they get to like top five, if luckily they both get there. And it was and Doyin was able to make it clear that yes, in the house she do not trust anybody. Even Ilebaye, and I like Doyin for this, she was very blunt and very truthful. So like even Ilebaye, whom she's having this conversation with, she do not trust her. But the only thing there is the fact that she feels like there's this like she trusts her the most in comparison to every other person in the house. Like, okay, if she's like, I trust Ilebaye like 70%, that's Doyin's view. Then when it comes to other people, the rate at which she trusts them is lesser compared to the way she trusts Ilebaye, but she still do not trust her 100%, which is something I think they all have to have, because this game is like an individual something. It should be you and you running your race. However, alliances will actually make you go so far in the game. So this is all I'll be discussing for the day one highlights of the show. Next time you'll be seeing me, I'll be giving you like day two highlights, and I'll still be doing like news contents about Big Brother for now. Bye for now.